our part two of our stream, and on the subject of our brother Dr. Michael Brown and his dissertation of challenging the teaching of the Israelites. His attack on the level of truth that is presented. Um, so what I want to do is uh, let's see. What I want to do is go back into what he's saying, because he's going to speak to the Deuteronomy 28. All right. He had a caller that called in and had a question, a young brother. And so I admonish the young brother that for him to reach out. I want him to reach out. I'm recording, honey. Recording. I want him to reach out and see. Am I streaming? I think I'm streaming. I just want to make sure. Hold on a second. It's been a while since I posted anything. Okay, I think I'm on now. Sorry about that. My wife, she's on the phone, but so I want to get back into it. So let's listen to this next segment here. He's going to talk about Deuteronomy 28. Okay, let's see what he says here.
Whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. You find that in Joel 2:32. You find it reiterated in Romans 10:12 and 13. Whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. And again, Romans 10:12, there's no difference between Jew and Greek. The same Lord is merciful and rich towards all, richly answering all who call to him for salvation. As for the misinterpretation of Deuteronomy 28:68, that it's referring to Africans, no, it's referring to the Jewish people sold back into slavery, into Egypt, and even going on ships, which we have a couple of different times in Jewish history, has happened in the ancient world. Jews would have been put on ships after being brought into captivity and sent back to Egypt in slavery. It is literal to try.
Okay. Now, a couple of things I want to point out in this here is he says literal. So Dr. Brown, I don't teach that Israel did not go back to Egypt literally, right? However, but you have to continue what the passage says, right? Okay, so now for clarity's sake, let's bring it up on the screen, right? And let's see if we can determine, right, what is being said. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28, the very last verse, which you so eloquently alluded to. And I believe Dr. Brown is an intelligent person, but Dr. Brown has been misinstructed, misinformed like the masses of people in the world. So Deuteronomy 28:68 says, Yah shall bring you into Egypt. Now, just for the sake of it, we don't use the substituted Lord. That's a substitution. The Most High said, call upon his name. His name is Yah. Psalm 68:4, right? Call upon him by his name, Yah, right? The writers didn't pull that out. So you say, well, who calls their father by his name? He said it. Who says, call upon my name shall be saved? You quoted that. What name were you calling on? Right? So Yah shall bring thee in Egypt, right? Again with ships. So we say this, Egypt again with ships, right? So did Israel go back to Egypt again in ships? On multiple occasions. Right. On multiple occasions. Right? Under the Assyrians, Israel went to Egypt again under the Greeks. And Israel went to Egypt again under the Romans. But it doesn't stop there. It says, you shall go into Egypt again with ships. Right? Okay? And then it says, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Right? Now, so it says, there you shall be sold. So Israelites were sold out from Egypt. Now, captivity of Israel was not just a one-time deal, right? The captivity was repetitive. We did a lesson where we showed every time Israel transgressed against the Most High, they went into captivity. That has been Israelites' judgment for breaking the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Now, but in Deuteronomy 28, we also acknowledge that this is a dual prophecy, because although the literal of the prophecy did happen on multiple occasions, this also is significant of a captivity, right? That in the same chapter, you're going to see where it gives a distinction, where he says, you shall go to a land your fathers have not known. Okay, let's see, what verse is that? Let's make it easy. Okay, let's see. 28, 36. All right. So we know this can't be Egypt, because this verse here says that Yah shall bring you and your king, which you shall set over you, right? So we know in the land that's called Negro land in Africa, when we set up kingdoms there, we had kings. But it said, Yah shall bring you and your king, which you shall set over you, into a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known. That can't be Egypt, because our fathers knew Egypt. So by process of elimination, that 68th verse is a dual, because how did Israel go to a place that the fathers have not known in ships? Okay. You shall, your fathers, it says, he will bring a king which thou shalt set over thee into a nation which neither your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other deities, wood and stone. Right? Now, let's pull out another verse. 64. And Yah shall scatter thee among all people. How about that? From the one end of the earth unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other deities which your fathers have not known. Right? that's not just talking about Egypt, literal Egypt, right? So if you ascribe to Deuteronomy 68 being fulfilled in Egypt, then you missed it, because this can't be Egypt, right? Yah shall scatter you among all people, from one end of the earth to the other. And he says specifically, you shall serve deities whom your fathers have not known. Our fathers did not know Jesus, right? Our fathers didn't know the Europeans. Europe was nowhere in existence, right? So that's key point, right? Now, what I want to do is, he says 65, which nails it. He says, and among these nations thou shalt find no ease. He didn't say among Egypt. He says among these nations. Neither shalt thou sole of thy foot have rest, but Yah shall give thee a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind. Right? And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. Right? So now, I want to tie that, right? And pardon me for not putting it on the screen. I want to tie that to another prophecy, right? That is detailed, right? So let's go to the prophet Joel. All right, chapter 3. You know where I'm going. Okay, we know the first few verses talks about the time when he shall bring the captivity. Let's read it. Behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem. Not just as the world has labeled Jews, but Jerusalem as well. How about that? He says, and I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and will judge, it says plead, but it's actually judging them there for my people, my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right? Now, they have cast lots for my people. They have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yes. What have you to do with me, O Tyre? Who was Tyre? Tyre is the Phoenicians. Zidon, another clan. These are Canaanite clans that worked in conspiracy, right, against Israel with other nations like the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Ishmaelites, who I believe were the North African tribes that they call Berbers, right? Berbers and Moors, combination of the two, right? A one or the other, or combination of the two, okay? And Zidon in the coast of Palestine. See that? Now watch what he says here. Verse 6 says, the children of Yehuda, and didn't just say Yehuda. See, there goes that mythology that only the 12 tribes was lost. This says the 12 tribes was not lost. What happened to the 12 tribes, right? The children of Yehuda and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border. Interesting. How they was removed far from their borders. All right, you want one more? I'll give you one more. Let's go to Isaiah the prophet, right? 11 and 11. We're going to walk it slow. And we don't have to fast talk, because if I'm wrong, you can prove me wrong. I'll take my time and I'll take my spanking if I'm wrong. But if you're wrong, you need to govern yourself accordingly and correct your theology, right? It says, it shall come to pass in that day that Yah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people which are left from Assyria. Okay? From Egypt, right? And from Pathros, right? And from Cush. Oh, so we got some Israelites amongst these nations. And from Elam, right? And from Shinar, right? So we talking about Babylon, Mesopotamia, Cush, Ethiopia on both sides, right? That's Cush also includes the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. Pathros, right? Different portions of Northeast Africa, right? Egypt, of course, we know as we know that's north. Okay, Assyria, that's part of the Babylonian territory, right? All right. Now watch this. Now it gets gooder. Our verse 12 says, "And he shall set up a sign for the nations," right? "And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel." How about that? "And gather the dispersed of Yehuda from the four corners of the earth." See that? He said he's going to gather the outspurs from the four corners. That's where Israel is, amongst the four corners of the earth, right? Not just one location, right? The four corners. All right. So now, what you got to say about that, Dr. Brown? How now, Dr. Brown? Now let's go back in and see what else he got to say here. All right. If I can do it.
Interpret it metaphorically, figuratively, like Hebrew Israelites do, does not work. "And the Lord will bring you back in ships to Egypt." Okay, so Africans that are slaves in America were not slaves in Egypt. Okay, that's not historically accurate. This is.
Wait a minute. We just proved you wrong. Those same people that were in Egypt, right? Were enslaved, and many of them that were in Egypt went down below the Saharan and formulated the kingdom called Negro Land, right? That's different than the ones that left, that went into captivity under the Phoenician Greek era that went up into Spain, right? So you have two groups of people. You have those who was taken captivity to Egypt, and then you have those that were taken to Spain, Morocco, and were cast out of the territory. And then you have those that were taken into the islands of the seas, right? Let's bring that up so you can see where we're going. Okay, the islands of the seas. I think we didn't read that part. I think it's in Isaiah. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna get it. Just bear with me a second. I think it's Isles. Is it Isles? Isles. Okay. Okay, I'll come back to that. But I must be misrepresenting it, but okay, I got it now. It's 11:11. I must have read it and it must escape me. Okay, 11:11. Let's bring it up again. Bring it up. Um, it shall come to pass that in that day that Yah set his hand the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Syria, Egypt, Pathros, Cush, from Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and the islands of the seas. Right? So that group there was taken back to Egypt in ships, and some were enslaved into the islands, the Greek islands in the Roman peninsula of the seas, right? Which also includes, right, but not limited to, right, Spain and Portugal, right? And islands also incorporates the islands of America. For example, Haiti, Cuba, Puerto Rico, right? Belize, right? You name it, right? Dominican. Those are islands of the seas. This prophecy said Israel would be in the islands of the seas. You got some islands of the seas. St. Thomas was an island in Africa, right? Some Israelites still there. You got other islands that are over by the Indian Ocean, right? The Israelites was taken in off to all the islands of the seas, right? Just like the scripture says, all right? So let's go back in here. All right. So, Dr. Brown, you slipping. All right, continue.
Jewish people who were in slavery in Egypt, a journey that I promised that you should never make again, and there you shall offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no buyer. Well, there were plenty of buyers, tragically, for African slaves, horrible part of American history, but there were plenty of buyers. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. It's about the Jewish people in exile and
Wait a minute, hold on. Go ahead.
Sent back to Egypt. Fact, right.
Wait a minute, he's so wrong on so many accounts, right? All right, now, so you miss, hold on, I have to help you out here, Dr. Brown, I have to help you out, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:68 again, all right? Let's help you unlearn something that you learned wrong, that your theology have misinterpreted, right? We're going to show you today. You're going to learn today, Dr. Brown. You're going to learn, right? And please invite me on your channel. Don't worry about the numbers. I've been in this walk for a long time, right? I've never been seeking, right, to have numbers, right? Deuteronomy 28. Let's break it down. 28. Now, either 28 and 68 contradict itself or there's a deeper meaning, right? Now, if we break it down, Dr. Brown, listen, I like that rhyme. We're going to break it down, Dr. Brown. We're going to break it down, Dr. Brown, right? We're breaking it down. And breaking it down, we're showing you right here. It says, Yah shall bring thee in Egypt again with ships by way whereof I spoken to thee, and thou shalt see it no more, and there you shall be sold. right? For enemies, bondmen and bondwomen, right? Now, notice what it says. You shall be sold, right? The next line says, and no man shall buy you. That's a contradiction when you say. So how could you be sold and nobody buy you? Does that mean you free? Because the passage says you will be sold, but no one will buy you. So if you are sold, right, and no one is buying you, then what is that saying? It's got a deeper meaning because you either sold or not. Right? So, in other words, what it's saying is you will be sold, right? So let's break it down. We're gonna use your Hebrew. You probably don't read your Yiddish Hebrew. You probably lost your language. But we'll use your tool, right? You shall be sold. Okay, the word is makar, to sell as merchandise. A daughter in marriage into slavery. Oh, so sold into slavery. So that soul is talking about you shall be sold into slavery to your enemies, right? Those that hate you, the adversary, right? Now, so either it is or it isn't, right? That sounds kind of funny. Either it is or it isn't, right? Either you were sold or you weren't. According to Deuteronomy 68, 28, 68 says you're going to be sold, right? Then it comes back and says, and no. Now notice the word man is added in that, right? Okay. It says ayin, to be nothing or to not exist, a non-entity, generally used as a negative participle. Okay. So no man is that phrase, right? Let's not look past this word bond women. Okay. So it says a shipka, right? A family see a female slave as a member of the household. So you got male, right? You shall be sold as bondmen, right? Which is a servant, a bondman, right? And bond women. That's the feminine part, right? And no man shall. Oh, this word is different. Doctor. The word is kana. Kana means to erect, right? To procure, right? So let me see something here. Let's ask Google right quick, right? What does erect mean?
Here's the definition of erect: rigidly upright or straight.
All right. Upright, right? So when you say, "Oh, what's wrong with these so-called Negroes? How come they can't get their act together?" No man can make you upright, right? All right. No man can make you upright. And the next word says procure, right? What does procure mean?
Here's the definition of procure: obtain something, especially with care or effort.
So it says procure means to obtain with care or effort. Okay. Second meaning says to persuade or cause someone to do something. So it says you will be sold, but no one will be able to what? To erect you, to build you up, to procure you, to offer unto you what? Persuade you to do right. No man can buy you, right? When you look at the so-called rappers, right? They getting bought every day. Not to do righteous, right? But to do wickedness. And when you do righteous, you get reprimanded. When you telling your people, we Israel, and we need to return to the covenant, you get reprimanded. That's what happened to Kanye, right? Yay. That's what happened to Kyrie. We punish you for letting your people know that you have in your space that they Israelites. Because when a so-called black person is enlightened to know that they're an Israelite, it makes them think, if we Israel, what does that mean? And how do we become the tail? Oh, is there a scripture that says something about you be the tail, not the head? Right, there you go. All right. So that's what that means, Dr. Brown. Now you got something to add to your repertoire, because you can't contradict and say you're gonna be sold, but nobody's gonna buy you. Right? It's like going to an auction. You go to an auction and we had this antique table on sale here. It's nice tables. This table goes back to the early 1800s. Can I get $100 for this table? 10, 20, 30, 40, 500, 2,000, 5,000, sell it. Boom, sold. $10,000. Right? That's what happened. They were sold. He said Israel will be sold. Sold, right? So now, where do we come about with offer yourself? Thou shalt see it no more, and you shall, and there, right? Thither, that's the word sham, there you shall be makar, sold. It didn't say nothing about offer, nothing. That New King James Version is watered down piece of garbage. Throw it in the trash can, because you don't get that in the Strong's numbers, right? I grew up on Strong's. I don't see nowhere where it says you're going to offer yourself, right? You shall be sold, right? You shall be sold to your oyebs, hating adversary, for, right? For abed, servants, and for what? Shipka, right? And ayin, nothing, right, will procure you. Right? See that? To procure, especially by purchase, causatively to sell, by implication to own, right? Okay. Now, that's what the Most High said, right? And pardon me for not putting it on the screen, right? So let's go back in. Let's let the doctor ask the doctor. Now he's a doctor. Now he got a doctor's degree. I don't have a doctor's degree. Right? Let's continue. All right.
John, I want to send you a free copy of my book, Our Hands Are Stained with Blood. We come back. Jackie, Patrick, Dennis, stay right there. We'll get your calls on the other side of the break.
Okay. Now he decided to go on a break. Let's see. I gotta scroll forward to where he has on this shirt, the gray shirt, or beige shirt, whatever color that is. Here we go. Let's see. He gonna take another call.
Download it. Ask Dr. Brown Ministries. ASK Dr. Brown Ministries. Download the app. You can get it on Apple. You can get
Wait a minute. I haven't asked Malachi. All right, come on, continue.
on Google, Android. Make sure you put ministries in. Ask Dr. Brown Ministries. And when you get it, scroll down.
In Bush, and he received the name, he received Yahweh. Yahweh being the Father of all. So we come over here in John 5:35 and 43. The Savior of the world says, I am come in my Father's name. The Father's name is Yahweh. So if he's coming in the Father's name, and I failed to mention, Yah is the masculine portion of the Father's name, and Way is the feminine portion of the Father's name.
Jackie, let me just jump in. Yah is not masculine. Way is not feminine. That's 100% false. That's like saying a dog is a cat. No, I just want to jump in though. That's okay. A complete. There's no anyone that knows Hebrew at all knows that that's a myth. There's nothing to it. It's like saying a dog is a cat and the rain is an airplane. It's part of a verb. These are. There's no masculine or feminine in it.
Okay, I don't know what
this is. This is a verb.
I don't know what this is. This is not about the subject. Let's see. Let's go forward.
In front of me, I can read it fluently. If you put an Arabic text in front of me in Aramaic, to the world with the name Yahweh is Savior, which in Hebrew is Yehoshua. Okay, so and Yehoshua is the short form is Yeshua. This we know for a fact. There's no.
Okay.
It made the statement, but I wasn't able to prove what I was saying.
But there's no proof. But listen, okay, Jackie, it is a verbal form. It is not means it is making it an ongoing truth.
This is
you think I want to win an argument here? It's just simply fact. It's like you're Jackie calling from Chattanooga.
Okay, let's talk about
in all
subject.
camps, in all groups, of all color and all background, to whom facts are meaningless. Okay? Facts are meaningless. So whatever you present, they're going to hear a certain way. So if, for example, you are told that certain people, you can't trust them, if they look like this, if they sound like this, and no matter how persuasive they sound, it's just because they're good liars, what can you do? I mean, how can there, not Yah? We see that the Greek name Jesus, Jesus, has the A sound, not an A sound, coming from Yeshua. So we know all this. It's not debatable. If his name was Yeshua, wonderful. If his name, that's not the issue to me. It's simply factually untrue. And if it messes with you, then you need to go to the Lord about it and say, God, I'm having a hard time hearing what this man is saying. How certain words developed, how certain forms developed through history and over in the New Testament as Jews, and what happened in their subsequent history after that in the literature that they developed and where they were scattered around the world, this can be traced. I'm going to go to the phones in a moment, but from Our Hands Are Stained with Blood, let me just read this one part to you about DNA evidence. And quoting again from some top researchers, a number of different theories have been proposed to explain Ashkenazi origins. So Jews like me of Eastern European, German background and things like that. The one with the best genetic support now is that the founding fathers of Ashkenazi Jews were Middle Eastern Jews who migrated to Europe and found their soulmates among indigenous Europeans. It's another blow to the theory promoted just skipped a page there. The theory originally by journalist Arthur Kessler and more recently by geneticist Aaron Elhak that European Jewry, Ashkenazim, are descendants of converted Khazars, a formerly pagan empire that ruled parts of Eurasia in the late 1st century. In other words, myth that happened. So why are there white Jews? Why are there black Jews? Why are there Chinese Jews? To say what we've said many, many times before, as Jewish people were scattered out of the land, right, over periods of time, they would assimilate in surrounding cultures and be lost to history. So some of the tribes of Israel, remnants of them, lost to history, because they assimilated into the world around them. Others continued to practice Judaism and intermarried with people in the surrounding places that married in. In other words, you're Middle Eastern Jew living in Europe, so women are now converting. Gentile women are converting, white women are converting to Judaism. As more and more happens over more and more centuries, now you end up white. The same happens in Africa. Middle Eastern.
Wait a minute. That is so false on so many levels, right? Because I could prove a point. He's talking about DNA, right? I could prove a point, right? I have people that I match with on Ancestry, right? And you ever heard of such a thing as Neanderthal DNA, right? Let's see if I can pull up my see if I can pull up my Ancestry DNA. Okay. Let's see, my Ancestry DNA. Let's do this here. I'll do matches. DNA matches. How do I get to my matches? I might need to blow this up. Let me see. How do I get to my matches in here? It's been a while. Let's see. It's been a while since I've been on this. Like this. Is it this one here? Ancestry DNA. Okay, I don't know. Wait a minute. This is complicated. Hold on. Okay, where do I go? Okay. Why can't I find my matches? Okay, something's not right here. DNA, ancestry DNA. Oh, here we go. Let's see. It's, wait, hold on. I am signed in. Why I can't find my DNA matches? Something not right. Okay, let me see. Trees. No, I don't want to just see. Something's not right. Okay, why can't I find my matches? I'm trying to figure out why I can't find my matches. Maybe I got the wrong account. I don't know why I can't find my matches here. What in the world is going on here? Let me see. This is get free trial. Maybe this is not the one that's activated. Okay, I'm gonna sign out of this one here. I can't figure this one out. I can't figure out why I can't find my matches. Let me see. I got 23 of me. Let's see. I like Ancestry better though. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can come back. Okay, what's my Ancestry? Bear with me a second. I'm trying to see. Okay, I see what I did wrong. I logged into the wrong account. Okay, let's see. Now I should be able to do it here. Here we go, matches. Okay, so I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to prove that what he's saying is false based off of what he just said. Talking about DNA, right? Why is this thing acting up? Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to my view matches, right? And I'm going to find somebody of European descent who I match with, right? And I'm going to prove a point. Okay, so this is European. Let me see. Let's see. I want to get somebody that's. No, she's not European. She's just light complected. I want to get somebody. I want to get somebody who's European, 100% European. Okay. And I'm going to show you something. I'll make a comparison. I need to go down to like a fourth cousin or something. Let's see, fourth cousins. Where are we at? See, a lot of the Europeans don't have their pictures. Okay, here goes a European here. Right. All right. Now, just to kind of hide, I don't want to reveal her information. I want to show you the. Let's do compare. Let's see. This is not the. This is not what I'm trying to do. I don't know why. It's ethnicity. I think this is the one I want. It might be 23andMe. Okay. So here's you can see this right here. This shows you here that she's European, right? She's got Sweden and Denmark 38%, England, North European 31%, right? I got 2%, 3% Scotland, 5% Germanic, 6% Ireland, right? So she's 4% Irish. I got more Irish than she does. Okay, she's got more German than I do. She got more Scotland. She definitely got more Northwestern Europe than me, right? Okay. Now I think it might be. Let me go back in. It might be 23andMe, the one that shows. I'm looking for the one where it shows you the Neanderthal DNA. I think it's 23andMe. So let's do this here. All right, let's close this out. Let's go to 23andMe. Right? Okay, I think this is the one. Okay, I gotta check it. I can't figure it out. Let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to make this real simple. It's complicated. I'm on my Apple computer, which I never generally go on this website using my Okay, I think I got it now. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay. All right, let's try this here. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Okay, I think 23andMe, they both do it different. Right, so I got to find somebody who's European, right? Okay, here's a prime example, right? I'm going to show you this, right? How do I hide this person's name? I can't. Okay, let's not show the name. This is a European person. I'm going to show you. This is a European person, right? All right, so since Dr. Brown is talking about DNA, right? So this person is okay. It actually shows you a picture of him now, so now you can see he's European, right? He has 98.7% European, right? This breaks it down. Northwestern Europe, he has 95%. Irish, 91%. Scandinavian, 3. French and German, none. Broad Northwestern European, 3%. I got 3%. Southern European, 2%. Sardinian, right? Italian, I got 0.6%. Spanish Portuguese, I got 0.4%. Broadly European, Southern European, I have 0. Eastern European, I have 0. He's got 0.7. Broadly European, 4, right? So now what I want to show you is when you go down here, right, and you look at the Neanderthal ancestry, you have more Neanderthal variants than 1% of 23andMe customers, right? He has 39% Neanderthal, right? It's 39%. Why does I have 1%, right? It says I have 2% Neanderthal DNA. So, what is Neanderthal DNA? Okay, inquiring minds want to know. Let's do it. Let's indulge. Okay, let's ask the question. Let's do Google. Let's ask Google. What is Neanderthal DNA?
According to Wikipedia, genetic studies on Neanderthal ancient DNA became possible in the late 1990s.
Okay, she didn't tell me what it is. Researchers found that links between Neanderthal DNA and fertility, how people feel pain, and immune systems functional. Neanderthal DNA may affect skin tone, hair color, height, sleeping patterns, mood, and even addictions in present day Europeans. Right? So okay, let's see. Okay, my point I'm trying to make is that if what he just said was they were Israelites and they migrated and lost their color. So how does that affect your DNA, your Neanderthal DNA makeup, right? When you look at the so-called black, generally we have a very small percentage, and that's due to mixing, right? So how much DNA mixing do you have to do to turn from black to white, right? It had to be a hell of a lot, right? And we're talking about, I have, as you saw in my breakdown of my DNA, I have European and I have only 15% European DNA. That's the total, right? Out of 100%. Okay? So his argument doesn't fly because you're not going to. Let's go back and let's replay what he said, because it makes absolutely no sense what he just said. Let's back it up.
As Jewish people were scattered out of the land, right? Over periods
Notice how he's stuttering. He already know he telling a lie.
of time, they would assimilate into surrounding cultures and be lost to history. So some of the tribes of Israel, remnants of them, lost to history because they assimilated into the world around them. Others continued to practice Judaism and intermarried with people in the surrounding places that married in. In other words, you're Middle Eastern Jew living in Europe. So women are now converting. Gentile women are converting. White women are converting to Judaism. As more and more happens over more and more centuries, now you end up white. The same happens in Africa. Middle Eastern Jews, Middle Eastern Israelites make their way into Africa, begin to intermarry with the African population there. And this African population, these different groups are converting to Judaism, like Ethiopian Jews or Lemba, etc. So over a period of time, you now have black Jews. Same.
That is the dumbest explanation. That's laughable. I mean, that holds no merit at all. I mean, so when you look at the people that Israelites married, none of the Israelites married Europeans, right? And the dominant gene is going to be the most aggressive, right? So you're going to see the only Jews that show you some form of blackness in them are the Sephardics, certain Sephardics. Some of them are actually a mixture. Okay. Some of them are actually African Edenic Hebrews, right? So that's a whole nother lesson. But what he just said is just foolish. Let's play it again.
Happen. So why are there white Jews? Why are there black Jews? Why are there Chinese Jews? To say what we've said many, many times before, as Jewish people were scattered out of the land, right? Over periods of time, they would assimilate into surrounding cultures and be lost to history. So some of the tribes of Israel, remnants of them, lost to history because they assimilate.
Wait a minute. Lost to history? That makes no sense. How do you lose to history? Right? The only way you could lose your heritage, right, is if you went through something like what the so-called African slaves went through. Having your heritage stripped out of you, forced you, beat it out of you, made you be convert to their religion, right? Nobody made, you won't find nowhere anybody was forced to convert to Judaism. And we don't use that terminology, but for his purposes. No, Israelites have never forced anybody to become an Israelite, to come under the covenant of Abraham. Muslims have forced you to become a Muslim. Christians have forced you to become a Christian, right? But no Israelite have forced anybody to become an Israelite. So the only way you can lose your history is if somebody take it from you. You don't just wake up one day and just forget, I forgot who I was, right? That's how much sense that makes. So the people of Israel had to be people that had their history taken from them. Or they purposely disassociate themselves with the people because of the persecution. But even at that, they're going to remember who they are because they're going to keep up with it, right? So, Dr. Brown, you got to go back to the table, brother. That don't fly.
To the world around them. Others continued to practice Judaism and intermarried with people in the surrounding places that married in. In other words, you're Middle Eastern Jew living in Europe. So women are now converting. Gentile women are converting. White women are converting to Judaism. As more and more happens over more and more centuries, now you end up white. The same happens in Africa. Middle Eastern Jew.
Well, first off, number one, why would they have to become black if they already was black? So if they married Africans, why would they have to become black? If Ham is the father of dark races of people, and Israelites came out of the Ur of the Chaldees, and you look at the historical record of the Israelites not being able to distinguish the difference between one of the 12 sons, Joseph, and the Egyptians, the Pharaoh, the prophet of Israel, the lawgiver, right? He was unable to be distinguished from the Egyptians, right? Paul the Apostle was mistaken for an Egyptian. So if they was mistaken for Egyptians, then they look like them. So why was there need for them to become black if they already were black? So that argument is weak as well water.
Middle Eastern Israelites make their way into Africa, begin to intermarry with the African population there. And this African population, these different groups are converting to Judaism, like Ethiopian Jews or Lemba, etc. So over a period of time, you now have black Jews.
Right.
Same with.
So he's contradicting himself. Earlier in this session, he said that they were. He says brown, right? Anything other than admitting that they were black people, Hamitic or African Edenic people, anything other than admitting the truth, brother. You're dancing around, you're beating, you're playing, you're bouncing around a mulberry bush. Dance, you're a professional dancer. All right, go ahead.
Chinese Jews, Asian Jews. Best as we can tell, the Israelites of old would have been brown-skinned. In any case, if they're all black, if they're all white, is immaterial to the larger scheme of things because Jesus dies to save everyone.
So that's why you dancing. So your records say your people are from Europe, right? Your DNA says you're from Europe. Doesn't say you're from the Middle East, right? Okay. And whose DNA? The ones that said that they have coding DNA. Whose DNA is the source of comparison? I want to know.
And all who put their trust in God through him can be saved and forgiven. Let's go to Sean in Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome to the Line of Fire.
Danced around that one.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Brown?
Doing well.
Definitely good hearing from. I think this is an interesting conversation. I myself, I guess, in some sense, identify as a Hebrew Israelite. I don't necessarily like to use that term, but I know from those on the outside tend to say that. I would more so look at myself as the stock of B'nai Israel, and consider myself a Messianic Jew. Just wanted to, and I think you kind of answered my question in what you were just saying that, like, Jewish people basically went through the four corners of the earth and they married those that were around them. And I was going to just simply ask, with those having the claim here in America, do you think African Americans do have a legitimate claim in saying that, hey, we are Israelites? Now, I won't go so far as to say that we're true, because then that would disenfranchise other people that have the same ethnic claim as well. But just, do you believe that we have a legitimate claim according to what you've studied thus far? A small minority, just like a small minority of whites are actually Jews or Israelites, heritage. A small minority of blacks are also Jews/Israelites in terms of heritage. So it's a small minority, but certainly there are legitimate claims, and DNA testing can help with that. And then doing your best to get family histories as far back as you can go to see how far back Jewish identity was maintained, or Saturday Sabbath was kept, or eighth-day circumcision was practiced. Because you'll have these tribal groups in Africa that have these ancient practices that, they still observe seventh-day Sabbath, circumcise their sons, only eat kosher food, but they don't even have the full knowledge of why. So yes, some are definitely legitimate. And then some, it's a matter of, joining in, converting somewhere along the line. Yeah, so a minority of whites worldwide are Jews, a minority of blacks worldwide are Jews, but some are definitely legitimate. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Like I said.
I don't think he answered the question. So let's go back. I don't think he answered the brother's question. Let me go back for a second. Let me see. Okay, hold on a second.
Judaism, as more and more happens over more and more centuries, now you end up white. The same happens in Africa. Middle Eastern Jews, Middle Eastern Israelites make their way into Africa, begin to intermarry with the African population there. And this African population, these different groups are converting to Judaism, like Ethiopian Jews or Lemba,
okay, we covered it already.
So,
let me see. Here we go, right here. Listen to the brother's question and listen to how he answered the question.
Dr. Brown,
doing well.
Definitely good hearing from. I think this is an interesting conversation. I myself, I guess, in some sense, identify as a Hebrew Israelite. I don't necessarily like to use that term, but I know from those on the outside tend to say that. I would more so look at myself.
So I wonder why he don't like to use that term, Hebrew Israelite, because of how they have demonized certain groups that made them stand in the forefront to represent the whole of Israelites in diaspora, right? So it's become a sour taste in the mouth. You can't disassociate who you are because of what people do, right? It's just like saying, I mean, people who you look at the far right wing people that's wing nuts, right? They're Trump addicts, right? And they Trump is their savior. Jesus is their king, Trump is their savior, right? But Christians don't say, "Oh, I'm not one of them. I'm not going to use the name terminology Christian no more." So you can't just stop saying I'm a Hebrew Israelite because you got some people who misrepresent the covenant in the face of the world. So you gotta own who you are and don't worry about what other people are not doing. Okay, so let's hear the question though.
The stock of B'nai Israel, and consider myself a Messianic Jew. Just wanted to, and I think you kind of answered my question in what you were just saying that, like, Jewish people basically went through the four corners of the earth and they married those that were around them. And I was going to just simply ask, with those having the claim here in America, do you think African Americans do have a legitimate claim in saying that, hey, we are Israelites? Now, I won't go so far as to say that we're true, because then that would disenfranchise other people that have the same ethnic claim as well. But just, do you believe that we have a legitimate claim
according to what you've studied thus far?
A small minority, just like a small minority.
He said a small minority. But watch how he answers the question.
Whites are actually Jews or Israelites, heritage. A small minority of blacks are also Jews / Israelites in terms of heritage. So it's a small minority, but certainly there are legitimate claims, and DNA testing can help with that. And then doing your best to get family histories as far back as you can go to see how far back Jewish identity was maintained.
So he said a small minority of blacks. He didn't say. Now it's a difference between a small minority of blacks on the global scale versus a small minority of blacks in America. He asked him about America, not about blacks in general, right? So he answered the question and didn't answer the question, right? If that makes any sense to you. He generalized it by saying blacks in general, right?
Or Saturday Sabbath was kept, or eighth day circumcision was practiced. Because you'll have these tribal groups in Africa that have these ancient practices that, they still observe 7-day Sabbath, circumcise their sons, only eat kosher food, but they don't even have the full knowledge of why. So yes, some are definitely legitimate. And then some, it's a matter of, joining in, converting somewhere along the line. Yeah, so a minority.
So basically he's trying to say you converts. When basically what we're saying, generally speaking, is that they are converts based on their resources. Every resource that we read about our history, when you go into these books, Leo Africanus, and you go into Herodotus, right? Okay, Herodotus, the historian, says that Egyptians were black with woolly hair. So what you gonna do with that? He's a Greek historian. You gonna throw out his references, right? We was reading in our lesson today from a book where I think it's Alan Gabby, I think it was. He wrote that the Greeks lie, right? So everybody that stole, right, everything from Egypt. They made Egypt be something that they're not, right? They made Israelites be something that they're not, right? I think it's the so-called Negro, the Jew. He says Abraham was a Negro, right? And he was the stepson of Nimrod, who was a Cushite, which means black man. So you can pass that on to people that are ignorant, but people that know, that research, that have scholarship, you can't pull that one over on them, Dr. Brown. So therefore you're wrong. It's not a minority of Israelites. There is the majority. It is a minority of Israelites, of so-called Negroes in America, that are not biblical Israelites. More are than more aren't. That was the right answer to that question.
A minority of whites worldwide are Jews, a minority of blacks worldwide are Jews, but some are definitely legitimate. Yes.
See how he generalized it worldwide. He didn't ask you about no worldwide. He asked you about America.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Like I said,
thanks.
Dialogue. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for the spirit of your call. Very much appreciated. Like I said at the outset, it is not anti-Semitic to say that all African Americans are Israelites. It's false, but it's not anti-Semitic. It's anti-Semitic to say that today's Jews are not really Jews, or they're all the synagogue of Satan. That's anti-Semitic. Or that Jews, control the world. That's false. That's a lie. Are there disproportionate number of Jews in influence? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Based on education, divine calling to be world changers for better or worse. But do they control the world, trying to take over the world? No, that's false.
So to his argument, he's false in what he's saying, because Israelites are not blessed, right? they are the minority of those that are inherit the blessings, right? You go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, he said the blessings and the cursings, right, will be upon you. So some Israelites are going to be blessed. But when you speak of Israel as a whole, right, you don't speak of a people who you go into a community where it's all well polished and, you know, and everything is in order. Schools is tip top, and, you know, they have their own markets and stuff in their own communities, right? Not at all. Not at all. Right? Deuteronomy 28 says these signs, right? I'll let Google read it. Deuteronomy 28 and 46.
According to BibleRep.com, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46, ESV, they shall be a sign and a wonder against you and your offspring forever. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46, KJV, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
How about that? So the curses is a sign for perpetually, right? So when you see people that generally speaking is reaping the curses as a general rule, right? You found the Israelites. All right. Let's let him have a closing remark here. I think he's got
let's go to Manuel in California. Welcome to the Line of Fire.
Hey, Dr. Brown, how's it going? I just want to give you a shout out. Give myself a shout out.
You know, he reminds me of Harold Camping, a younger version of Harold Camping, the Bible Answer Man. Was Harold Camping the Bible Answer Man? I think he was. Yeah. Okay, but go ahead.
I just want to say, I just can't believe it, Dr. Brown. You know, because everybody wants to claim something. But let me give you an example. If we were claiming, you know, like if we came from, you know, Africa or something like that, it would be a big, you know, media coverage, right? But since it's the opposite way around, it's been crazy. But I just want to say, you know, when are you going to debate a Hebrew Israelite so we can check up and see what's going on with that?
As soon as one takes up my offer, it's been out there for years. As soon as one takes up my offer, I mean, you get challenged, you got to get mocked and ridiculed.
So this is the first time I've heard him say he wanted to debate. But then if you listen to his form, he don't want to debate somebody that doesn't have a big name, right? But, hey, reach out to me, 443-480-3166, 443-480-3166. Send me an email, askmalaki at askmalakiyah, askmalakiyah at gmail.com, right? Send me an email. We can set it up. You want to talk? You want to debate? We can set it up. I'm ready. All right.
You know, YouTube and these other places all the time, and I'm happy to do it. The key thing is it has to be someone that's recognized within their community as a leader, right? Because look, if I went to fight Tyson Fury in a boxing match, right? He's the heavyweight champion. Within a second, I'd be knocked unconscious and maybe dead. Right? What does that prove? No, but when he fights a top heavyweight, then it's a fair battle. So I want to be fair and make sure if I have a debate, it's with someone who's recognized within their community as a leader. All right, then it's a fair debate.
Well, so you're being hypocritical because nobody recognized you in your community because I never heard of you before. It's the first time I ever heard any offer. So heavyweight knockout, lightweight knockout, whatever. Okay, I'm recognized amongst people know me. I've been around for years. Okay, I've never interested in building a name. I'm interested in truth out of the scriptures. So if you want to debate the scriptures and history, we can debate that. But for you to limit your debate to somebody who has a big name, and I think that's what it really boils down to, people like you and Geno Jennings, right? But I'm gonna let you have your last words. Then I'm gonna go ahead and close this out.
Then we can agree on the subject and do it. So I want to be fair to Hebrew Israelites. That's my whole thing. I'm here. Contact me through the website. Call in the show. I'm happy to have the debate. We'll agree on the subject. Formal moderator. We'll get a neutral moderator. We'll do a live internet feed for the whole world to watch. Let us do it. Hey, thank you for the call. I got time for one more. Let's go to Chris in Covington, Tennessee. Time is short, so weigh right in, please.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Brown?
Doing well, thank you.
First of all, I will say this. I've been watching you for quite some time. I am an Israelite. I am black as it relates to color, since you have black Hebrew Israelites on your thing there. I'm also a believer in Messiah Yeshua. I also preach on the streets, but I also accept all colors. I don't care who you are. The blood of Jesus cleanses you. So that's my backdrop. But I also believe that the original Hebrews were people of color. I also believe that there is some deception going on, but I'm not out there fighting against Ashkenazi Jews or whoever. I've listened to rabbis and I've listened to read books, I guess, concerning some Jewish rabbis who make certain statements and certain comments, and they did documentations as well. So what do you have to say concerning Jews or other Jews who are saying that there is a legitimate claim, like you just said to the other caller, there is a legitimate claim to those of us who came through the diaspora? I've talked to kings of Africa, and I'm still in conversation with kings of Africa who also know certain things. So somebody somewhere has some false information somewhere.
Yep. So, Chris, I got to jump in just because I'm at the end of the show. So let's do this, all right? First, we agree. Jesus is the Savior of all. The blood of Jesus is the only way to God. All of us sin. All of us fall short. All of us need mercy. And I can claim I'm a Jew or an Israelite, whatever. I need the mercy of God through Jesus. Chris, the same, all of us. So we agree on that. All right. Here's what we need to do, sir. Let's plan on early in the new year, just because of broadcasting and time away and being in India next week. Plan to call in on a Thursday earlier in the show. All right. Plan to call in if you can early in the new year, early in a show when you can, especially on a Thursday.
He's out of time.
And I want to give you more time to interact on this. Fair enough? So I want to get your call in and give you the time I could.
He's out of time. So it looks like that's it. That's all he has to offer. But to answer the brother's question, the proof is in the pudding, brother. He even said it himself, right? He even said himself that he said browns. And they turned white after years and years and years of marrying white people. Come on, man. The whole nation turned white after years and years. And the only blacks that could be Israelites is a minority? Come on. That's the craziest thing I ever heard of my entire life. But listen, that's all I got. So I don't know if I got anybody on this live stream. I didn't intentionally do this for an audience because I wanted to stream it rather than record it, so I can have it without having to load my computer with video footage, right? So I'm not sure if anybody's. Let's see. I don't see anybody online. But this will be uploaded on I will put this in my community tab on my main channel, and I'm going to do another video. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it before Shabbat is over, but I'm going to take a break and go ahead and maybe I'll come back in about a half hour or so and take a look at this other video. All right. So that's all I got. So, all right. Shalom, shalom. Baruch.